Can any Trump supporter anywhere please explain this? We know if you work for Trump as a contractor, he's likely to stiff you. If you lend Trump money, he may declare bankruptcy and cheat you. If you donated money to Trump's foundation, he stole it. If you donate to his campaigns now, he's likely to spend it on himself. If you work for him in government, he probably turned on you. If you commit a crime for him and get caught, he's likely to disown you. If you married him, he cheated on you. If you listened to him and participated in the insurrection, he hasn't given a dime to help you. So the question is, if he's so disloyal to everyone else, why the hell are you so loyal to him now?
I have a question for MAGA supporters, specifically MAGA supporters who are veterans or MAGA supporters who are family and friends of veterans. Those of you who served in the Vietnam War, the Gulf War, the war in Afghanistan, or those of you who just served in times of peace, still keeping us protected. Donald Trump just said, your service don't count. Y'all still support him? Inquiring minds want to know.
Hispanic and I vote for Mr. Trump. We vote for Mr. Trump. Yes, Mr. Trump. We love you.
A few moments later.
Beyond betrayed. They used us. They actually, during the campaign, and I don't want to make this political, but during the campaign, the elected officials from the Republican Party, they actually told us that he was not going to touch the documented people.
Welcome back. As I previewed right before the break, I have a great guest joining me now to talk about this story. Democratic Senator Adam Schiff of California, the former chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. Senator, it's great to see you. We had talked about having you come on the show long before this. There's so many things to talk to you about, but this story is just, I've been wondering all day what your reaction was when you...
Former President Donald Trump found himself at the center of a heated discussion on Capitol Hill today, as several Republican senators publicly criticized him over the recent leak of sensitive war plans. The incident has sparked a wave of intense debate, leading to surprising moments of disagreement within the party. During a closed-door meeting, key Republican senators voiced their concerns, with some going as far as to accuse Trump of jeopardizing national security. One senator was heard expressing, "This is a betrayal of trust, and it undermines everything we stand for as a nation." While the conversation remained largely private, the tension among lawmakers was palpable, and the remarks quickly made their way to social media platforms. Trump, who has long had a complex relationship with members of his own party, appeared to respond with frustration. "I never intended for any leaks to occur. I have always put America first," he said in a statement.
On Friday afternoon, Donald Trump decided to post a photo of himself, an AI-created image, showing him dressed as the Pope and seated in the Vatican. He shared that on his official Truth Social account. It's not clear if Trump himself made it. I don't think he has the mental capacity to do that, but somebody within his group, his organization, his administration, made this fake image, and Trump pushed it out on social media to millions of people. This immediately sparked backlash, and not just amongst the liberals. It wasn't the snowflakes out there upset and offended. It was his own supporters that provided the loudest voices of opposition. People that have spent years hyping up Donald Trump, attacking Joe Biden, even people who are currently defending his trade war like he's the smartest man and we're all idiots, those folks couldn't even stomach this disgusting image. And now let me, before I even read some of these responses that Raw Story put together, and they're pretty good, but I want to point something out here. I know, and look, I'm a Catholic. I was born and raised. Granted, I'm a lapsed Catholic. I've not been to church in a couple decades, but I went through all the sacraments. I'm a Catholic by definition. Let me tell you that I do, in fact, find this offensive. And if you don't find it offensive, then let me pose it to you this way, right? Trump dressing up as the Pope, even in an AI image. Suppose Donald Trump had created an AI image of himself as the Prophet Muhammad. Would that be offensive? Oh, hell yeah, without hesitation. Suppose Donald Trump posted a photo of himself as a rabbi. He would immediately be labeled anti-Semitic. Rightfully so, by the way. But he does it to the Catholics, you know, the Catholics, butt of everybody's jokes, and granted, yeah, they got a lot of problems in the church, and I'm not defending any of that. I've attacked it for decades. But kind of seems like Catholicism is like the one religion everybody's cool with just shitting on all the time. Right? Like, you can do that and not worry. You're not going to get labeled a bigot or anti-Semitic or anything like that. But this is equally as offensive. And I do think people need to understand that, and I think people need to kind of reflect a little bit and realize that, no, regardless of what you believe, you don't mock other people's faith. You don't. You absolutely do not do that. Doesn't matter what the faith is. You know, and we do know, obviously, there are some religions you don't do that. But for some reason, there's others that you absolutely are like, yeah, this is totally cool to do. So that bugs me. It genuinely really does. But anyway, here's the responses from some of Donald Trump's most diehard supporters. One of them, Rita Sellers, who once ranted that Joe Biden was a jackal who makes her skin crawl, said this: I'm not a Catholic, but I'm a Christian and Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. However, I do not think it was a good idea to have President Trump look like the Pope. He is no Pope. He is the President of the USA, period. This was disrespectful to the Catholic faith. There is nothing to laugh at. You all, whoever did this, really messed up on this one. Another one said, why did I ever believe you actually loved America or over your own hubris? You only love yourself, and I've never regretted voting for you more than I do today. Never again. That's a wonderful comment. Another woman, Rebecca Williamson, said, I'm an evangelical Christian, never been Catholic, but I really wish you hadn't shared this. Your interview suggesting that being Pope was a bit cringy in itself, but this is borderline sacrilegious, no matter what your beliefs. Why must we fuel the fake news fires? Okay. Another said, Trump, I voted for you, and I admire what you're doing for us. Like raising your prices on everything? You admire that? Cool. But this is a mistake. Stop doing those mistakes. Messing with the Almighty may cause our demise. It's Christ who instated the papacy upon the first Pope, St. Peter, and here you are messing around with what's sacred. How dumb of you. Another said, who is advising you to post this photo, U.S. Pope, and past video, Trump Gaza? They're fired. It's spelled there, T-H-E-I-R, like a possessive, they're fired. Another one said, this is a bridge too far for me, and another said, I love Trump, but this post isn't funny. Pretty scary, actually. And it is, because this man's ego has no bounds, right? His hubris, as the one user pointed out, which I think is a great way to put this, that is what's driving this. He is a megalomaniacal crazy person, essentially. And that is what this image shows us. The fact that he even thought it was okay to post it shows us that he is completely disconnected from reality. He has no respect for anyone other than himself. That is what this image means to me.
Donald Trump's lawyers have told the appeals court he cannot secure the $454 million necessary to appeal the New York fraud case. Now, in a filing today in court, Donald Trump's lawyers have said, quote, it's a practical impossibility for Donald Trump to secure this bond. Now, what does this mean for Donald Trump? Well, in 1 week from today, if he cannot secure the bond, if he cannot pay the $454 million necessary to appeal, Letitia James and the state of New York can start seizing his assets in order to make the judgment whole. So, where does Donald Trump go from here? Well, apparently he has reached out to 30 different surety agencies with 4 different brokers, and none of them want to touch this. He has claimed that what they want are more liquid assets, more securities, more cash. They don't want hard assets. They don't want his properties, his real estate, which is weird because he's always told us that he's debt-free, that these are all debt-free properties.
In a moment few expected, former President Donald Trump was met with a wave of loud boos from parts of his own base during a rally on Saturday, creating shockwaves across social media and political circles. The event, held in Georgia, began with typical fanfare. Thousands of MAGA supporters waving flags and cheering as Trump took the stage. But as the evening unfolded, the mood began to shift. Tensions reached a boiling point when Trump mentioned his previous endorsements of certain Republican candidates and brought up his administration's role in vaccine development and pandemic policies. Sections of the crowd began to boo, and a chant of, "You betrayed us," broke out among a vocal group near the front of the stage. While Trump tried to brush off the reaction and continue his speech, the disruption was hard to ignore. Several attendees were seen shaking their heads or walking out, visibly disappointed. Others voiced frustration over what they described as broken promises and mixed messages from a figure they once viewed as untouchable. This isn't the first time Trump has faced pushback from his base.
Elon Musk is basically daring Donald Trump to respond to him at this point, as Musk will not stop mocking Donald Trump's announcement that Stargate was investing $500 billion in the United States. Now, this all started last night when Musk suggested that OpenAI and their partners didn't have the $500 billion. And he continued today, reposting anybody that would suggest the same thing. And I brought the receipts, Trump supporters. Here he is, Elon Musk, reposting this. And some of the stuff that he's been reposting, I couldn't show here. It has been brutal. And here is the telling part. Donald Trump has been silent. Donald Trump responds to everybody, whether it's a bishop or a Democrat or anybody in between. If anybody dare suggest that Donald Trump isn't being honest, doesn't know what he's talking about, or is full of it, Donald Trump is quick to respond, and he usually hits back harder. But when it comes to Musk, he is silent. And this is the most telling part of their relationship right here. Donald Trump went into Detroit today and gave Kamala a huge gift, because while in Detroit, while speaking there, Donald Trump thought it would be in his best interest to trash the city of Detroit the same way he did with Milwaukee. The only difference is this is on camera. Take a listen to this.
The whole country is going to be like, you want to know the truth? It'll be like Detroit. Our whole country will end up being like Detroit if she's your president. You're going to have a mess on your hands.
The city of Detroit is not a mess. The city of Detroit is actually a thriving city. It has its problems, just like any place would. But Detroit is doing well. For Donald Trump to go into Detroit and decide that he is going to trash the city the same way he did Milwaukee, although he denied Milwaukee, is only going to motivate the people there, the people that want to vote against him. And turnout is going to be the key. And thanks to Donald Trump, he did something that Kamala Harris would have to do herself by going there, motivating the anti-Trump voter.
Donald Trump's poll numbers obviously continue to get worse every couple of days when a new poll comes out. In fact, he has not even had a poll regarding any kind of approval rating or his handling of any issue that has shown his numbers getting better for 2 months. He is going down, 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 and there apparently is no bottom. He'll continue going down until his approval rating on any particular issue hits 0, which honestly, we could see that. But here's the thing. It's not just that people say, I don't like what he's doing on this issue, on the economy, on immigration, on tariffs, on trade, on anything. What's really damaging for both Donald Trump and the Republican Party is that a majority of American voters in a recent poll said that the phrase dangerous dictator is an apt description of Donald Trump. They agree that that is what he wants to be. So, Guardian reporter David Smith wrote a column, and here is what he said after analyzing all of this data, again, not just the issues, but the attitudes towards the man himself. And here is what he came up with. After 100 days, a majority of Americans regard him as both a failure and a would-be dictator. From the courts to the streets, from law offices to college campuses, revolt is swelling. Republicans are eyeing next year's midterm elections with nervousness. And he's correct on all points there. Republicans are terrified about what's going to happen next year. Many of them have already predicted if things stay on the current path they are, and there's no sign they're not going to stay on this path, it's going to be a wipeout. Some of them have used the word bloodbath to describe what is going to happen to their party in next year's midterms. And that's coming even with Democrats still having a really bad underwater approval rating. Because the public's like, yeah, we don't like Democrats, but we really hate these guys. So the Democrats have a leg up without even having to do anything yet. But then you had pollster John Zogby, who spoke to Smith about this piece, and Zogby added, quote, he actually, talking about Trump, squandered his 100 days. Perhaps you can argue by doing too much, not succeeding with much of it, and overplaying his hand. At the end of the 100 days, his polling numbers reflect an unsuccessful quarter. Every poll that I know of, including mine, has him upside down. And then Smith continues, the chaos has shaken the faith of Trump voters who felt that he would at least deliver economic competence and guarantee the bottom line. But Food prices are rising and tariffs are expected to disrupt supply chains soon, leading to empty shelves reminiscent of the COVID-19 pandemic. More likely than not, we'll begin to see Republicans, whose names are on the ballot in 2026, slowly but clearly moving away from this agenda. It's very clear that many Trump voters already have buyer's remorse. But therein lies the problem, and this is where my disagreement with Smith comes in. Yes, 100% a lot of Trump voters have buyer's remorse. But Republicans moving away from it? That doesn't seem as likely as people would think. We have seen a little bit of dissent among Republicans. A couple of them, including Mitch McConnell, voted against one or two of Trump's nominees. They tried last week to pass that bill in the Senate to prevent Donald Trump from being able to put tariffs in place, and it failed. Because the two people that would have voted in favor of it to pass it, White House was out traveling and McConnell was sick. Because he shouldn't be in office anyway, so didn't pass. But you still had an equal number of only Republicans vote for giving Trump the tariff power or leaving it with him than you had Democrats and like 2 Republicans vote against it. So, right? We're not seeing the kind of Republican resistance that you would think from a party that's telling us we're going to face a bloodbath next year. At this point, only 100 and, whatever days into this administration, I do think Republicans have already resigned themselves to this political, wipeout next year. I think they're already looking at it like, well, it is what it is. Because here's the thing. They know if they go against Donald Trump, maybe try to save themselves for next year's election. But then again, if they go against him, he's already pledged, and Elon Musk has pledged a lot of money to fund a primary challenger. So you may lose anyway. So there really is no political advantage for some of these Republicans to go against Donald Trump if the big concern is what happens in next year's midterms. So we'll have to wait and see. But if anybody in this country is waiting for Republicans to come along and save them,